We're back here now on the Edmonton Global stage inside the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub Pavilion. So maybe if you can each do a quick intro, tell us a little bit about the work you're doing, and then we'll get into the conversation. Do you want to start?
Sure. So my name is Satvinder Flore. I'm Executive Vice President of Energy Resources Industry for WSP. So my portfolio looks after anything to do with energy. And that's renewable energy all the way through to conventional energy and process energy, and that includes hydrogen, cellulosic ethanol, methanol, synfuels, biofuels. We also look at mining and metals, and we also look at smart industry, which is light manufacturing. Yeah. But hydrogen has application across all of those areas and beyond as well. WSP has 70,000 people globally, and we also look at the transportation infrastructure sectors, the building sectors, and environmental permitting.
Well, how many people globally?
70,000 people globally.
Wow, it's a massive company.
Yeah, absolutely. Canadian success story.
Yeah.
We're involved in pretty much every aspect of the hydrogen value cycle. Yeah. So that's our interest.
Yeah, and I'll say too that if you're at the show, the WSP presence is huge. You've got a lounge that you're hosting, you've got a pavilion that you're hosting, you've got a very big presence, so you're certainly all in on what's happening in hydrogen during this conference.
Absolutely, and that will continue.
Okay, fantastic. And just hold your mic a little closer next time. David, how about for you? Can you tell us a bit about Enerkem?
Yeah, so I'm David Lynch. I'm Director of Intellectual Property for Enerkem. And Enerkem is a technology company that takes a variety of feedstocks, municipal waste to biomass to whatever. As long as it contains carbon, we convert that to a syngas, which contains hydrogen and carbon monoxide, and then that syngas is used to make a whole variety of products. So, including hydrogen or methanol or other materials.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, so let's maybe get into a little bit of the details with both of you. So WSP, again, you're a huge international company. I think people might be surprised at how many projects that are massive that you guys are part of. Yeah. Can you maybe just give us a sense, especially in the hydrogen space, net zero space, what are some of the projects that you're working on right now or that you have coming up?
Well, we're working with David.
Yeah, fantastic.
We're very pleased to be part of a major energy from waste project in Varennes with Enerkem, which will be one of many projects around the world, which is fantastic. But we're involved in pretty much every project that you will hear about in relation to hydrogen here. So we're involved in everything in making it, producing it. So we're doing pre-feasibility studies on large-scale hydrogen facilities, producing 1 to 2 gigawatts of power.
Wow.
We're involved in everything to do with moving it. So we're looking at hydrogen blending, ammonia synthesis, methanol production. And they're also looked on the using side of it. So everything from battery fuel cells to refueling stations. Yeah. So we really have a rounded picture of, I view this as a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Right, and you've got to get every face right, and we're involved in every single face of that. So we're involved in pretty much every project that you'll hear about here, both in Canada and quite a few internationally. WSP was actually instrumental in the Hydrogen Hub in the UK, and we're bringing that expertise here.
Yeah, fantastic. How about you, David? Maybe give us a little bit of a breakdown on some of the projects you're working on right now.
Sure. Okay. Well, as Satvinder mentioned, we're working with WSP to produce the Varennes carbon recycling project. Yep. So that's in construction currently. We have a 90 megawatt electrolyzer going in to produce hydrogen for that project. And we're also using the oxygen from the electrolyzer, so it's an extremely efficient technology for Enerkem. Yeah. We're very excited to be working with Accelera and Cummins on that project to produce the hydrogen. And that's one project. There's actually 3 ways that Enerkem interfaces with the hydrogen economy. We also produce hydrogen. We produce very low carbon intensity hydrogen, especially when coupled with carbon sequestration. And, so that's a very interesting market for us. And when you're looking at the future of the hydrogen economy, we can actually produce low or negative CI hydrogen from our process when using biomass or waste as a feedstock. So it's a very exciting opportunity that we're looking at. And we also use and store hydrogen in the products that we make. So for example, our Varennes carbon recycling project will start off producing methanol. Yeah. And we store the hydrogen chemically in the methanol, which really facilitates transportation and use of the hydrogen.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. It's amazing how many innovations are happening in this space. We hosted a VIP event yesterday that I think both of you were at, companies around the world that were part of that. And we've been working in this space for a while, not as long as you have, but every day almost you find out there's a new innovation, a new technology, a new deployment. So one of the things we wanted to talk to the two of you about is just to get a better sense of what's happening globally and what some of the bigger trends are. Again, I think a lot of that is happening here, and one of our goals, as the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub, is to have this really be an innovation sandbox for industry. So are there things happening in other parts of the world that you think that's a great example of how you spark innovation, how to spark investment that we could be learning from?
Absolutely. I mean, we're building an entire ecosystem around hydrogen, and that means there are supply-side innovations and demand-side innovations. I think when you look at creating hydrogen, producing hydrogen, we quickly get into the subject of colors, right? Blue hydrogen, green hydrogen, pink hydrogen. To be honest, I think it's a bit of a misnomer. What we're looking at is low carbon intensity hydrogen production.
Yes.
And there's some phenomenal technologies that are out there, which we will be really bringing to market pretty quickly. The IEA says that we have to produce 25% of our energy from hydrogen by 2035 to meet our international commitments. That is a huge ask. So let's look at, for example, the use of catalysts or molten alkali. So you can actually create hydrogen by passing methane through molten alkali or a catalyst and come out with pure hydrogen and carbon black or graphene or graphite, which can be readily used in industrial applications and is automatically captured.
Yeah.
I think those kind of innovations are going to be very interesting going forward. I think the use of e-fuels, biofuels, is going to be absolutely instrumental in developing a hydrogen economy, because I think it provides a very steady demand pool, and you've already got an existing infrastructure, whether it's ammonia or methanol. Those are existing supply chains you can tap into very, very quickly. So I think the trends are really going to be about how do we develop this ecosystem quickly and get it moving, given that we've got until 2035. So we've got until...
not very long.
It's not very long. Until my 7-year-old gets out of university, we've got that amount of time to get a 25% ecosystem from hydrogen globally. And so there's lots of innovation that will do that.
Yeah, we use the language a lot that the global race is on. But in a normal race, you expect one winner and a second, third. We're actually looking for the whole world to win at this. So the faster we can move as a collective, the better off we are. So again, one of the reasons we're really hoping to be that innovation sandbox around this is to figure things out, do them at scale, move that IP to other parts of the world so that others can really follow suit. And again, David, I think you guys are a player in that. Are there projects either in Canada or other parts of the world that you look at to say, that's a great way to do it, we should copy that or learn from that?
Absolutely. We're looking at projects across Canada and the United States and in Europe as well, really around the world. We've got projects in development, and we're very excited about that. They all involve either the use or production of hydrogen, so it's a very important material for us, both as a raw material and as a product. So we're really excited to be working in this space, and it's really about speed to market. It's about getting the project out there, getting to a stage of development where they can support the investment required to grow the infrastructure. So we're really excited to be in that acceleration phase of these projects.
Okay, fantastic.
And I think it's also quite useful to know that our global center of excellence for hydrogen is here in Alberta. And Alberta has a number of things going to its credit. We have an established energy center and energy infrastructure. We have people that are very conversant with developing energy projects and bringing them to market and commercialization. And that level of innovation and speed to market is going to be essential in developing global projects. So, for example, the Varennes project in Quebec is actually being engineered out of Alberta. And that sort of transfer wouldn't have been considered 10 years ago, and now we're seeing it. So we're bringing international expertise into Canada, and then we're using that as a synthesis to develop international projects from Canada. So it's a great story.
Yeah, it's remarkable. And again, I think what people often don't talk about or think about is just the scale of things that are happening here. So, we've got Air Products is in the process of building the world's largest net zero hydrogen facility. Dow later this year is hoping to be at FID around their $10 billion net zero ethylene, polyethylene. And that was a billion, like it's massive. Linde has just announced that they're going to be the supplier of hydrogen into that project, another global scale project that may rival, maybe even surpass the size of Air Products. we've seen Heidelberg do an announcement of it's one of the largest cement net zero.
And we're working with Heidelberg on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And all that's happening here.
Absolutely. And actually the largest industrial carbon capture project on the planet is here in Alberta.
Yeah.
Right, so
it's amazing. We already have the world's largest hydrogen pipeline. We've got the longest and largest CO2 capturing, pipeline. I think we've got 5 of the 6 or 7 global scale carbon sequestration projects in the world are here. So I think, that goal of being the innovation play, being the place to test things out, because it's already been proven here for like 20 years.
And when we look at green hydrogen for a number of reasons is very dependent on hydropower.
Yeah.
And Canada is a hydropower international, center of excellence. So when we look at green hydrogen development, that also will feature very significantly in Canada's plans going forward.
Yeah, and I think we need the whole rainbow, right? So we often talk, like just this language that you were using, that the color doesn't really matter. The measure we need to hold ourselves to is carbon intensity. So the goal is net zero, and if you're getting into the pinks and the greens and the blues, all of those are red herrings. Really it's about what's the level of carbon. The lower the better. We need to get to net zero, and we can scale from this using methane much faster than you ever could with water. And we're also not pulling water out of our ecosystem. So it's really is the path to get there if we want to move quick, and if we want to help decarbonize Canada and the world. This is where we can do it, and we need to do it fast. And it's projects like yours that are going to do it. Go ahead.
Oh, and in addition to methane as a feedstock, we can also use many other feedstocks, including municipal waste, including biomass. So we can really take advantage of the whole spectrum of available feedstocks to produce hydrogen where it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've only got a couple of minutes left. Is this your first time at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention? You here last year?
I was on the main stage last year.
You were on the main stage last year.
My first time.
First time, okay. So last year we had 4,000 people. This year we've got 8,000, so we've doubled it in year 2. Next year I think we're going to run out of hotel space, so we're going to be full at maybe 12,000. Anything that you're really looking forward to as part of the show? Things that you're really watching?
The speed of innovation, looking out for new innovations that are coming to market. Also looking at the level of interest now to convert this into reality. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about how quickly we have to go.
Yeah.
That you can't overstate how quickly we need to move with hydrogen. So here is very much a litmus test to see really how do we get this to market quickly. As I said, we've got commitments at 2030, and the lifetime of most projects is about 4 to 6 years. So we've got to get moving right now to meet our 2030 commitments.
Yeah. How about you, David?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to learning more about the convention here. I really want to see the different product offerings, and I want to see who's got steel in the ground, who's really, as mentioned, I'd like to see who's doing projects and putting these technologies to application.
Yeah, fascinating. That's amazing. So again, thanks both of you so much for being part of this. Really appreciate it. Kind of the last question, if you were to look out 5 years, and 5 years in this space is a long time. What do you think is coming in terms of this transition to net zero, whether it's hydrogen, whether it's waste to fuel? What's the big thing or a couple of things that you think people should be keeping an eye on?
I think people will start to see that hydrogen will be starting to reach those parts that electrification can't.
Yeah.
Right, so you'll start to see sustainable aviation fuels. You will start to see commercial scale hydrogen used in long haul transport. We'll start to see a lot more use of hydrogen fuel cells. And that's going to happen very quickly. And right now, our market penetration is under about 2%. I think we'll go from 2 to 50% very quickly. And I think that'll happen at the beginning of the next decade, but we'll see the seeds of that happening in the next 5 years.
Wow, yeah, I totally agree.
Well, I think currently we're looking at the production of large-scale sustainable hydrogen. I think 5 years from now, it's going to be about the distribution of that hydrogen. How do you get it to the people who need it? And there's a lot of innovation in that space taking place now, too.
We've got some sessions later on, and if anybody who's popping down, we've got this amazing Lego display set up that actually is to demonstrate what moving from methane into hydrogen, carbon sequestration is about. Because I think you're right. It's that next step of we've already got global scale production happening to really get it to market, to help places like Korea and Japan and China and California to help them decarbonize. We've got a role to play, but only if we can get it there. And there really is no global standard for how do we move hydrogen or ammonia to an extent, but not at the scale we need to do. So doing that switch into how do we now do this at global scale, get products to market, help the world decarbonize. So again, thanks so much to the both of you.
Thank you.